Hello and welcome back to my channel. This week I am sharing all the dream oracle messages for the new moon in Pisces that is going to be this Sunday, February 23rd. Now, if you are coming to this video at a later date, it's perfect. These are not time specific, although they're channeled for the new moon. These messages are perfect for whenever you might come across this video. So for those of you who don't know, I am a dream oracle, and what that is I have a unique ability to connect with spirit in the dream world and channel messages for the collective as well as my individual clients. So this video, I've gone in to ask spirit, what does the collective, what do you need to know right now to help support you in your life? So I'm going to be sharing the messages for you now. So first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share the dream. Now this video, I'm actually sharing two dreams. First dream I'm sharing, it was really fast when I was in the dream world, and yeah, the message was just really great, and there was a lot that spirit was downloading into me during the dream while I was witnessing the dream. And so I will share with you what spirit shared with me. So I'm going to share the dream, and it's kind of like, yeah, it's just like the dream part and then the messages after, and it's really hard to share the whole experience of what the dream is because I'm sure, as you know, dreams are so like multi-sensory and very unique. So yeah, I'll just share what I can, and then I will share all the messages. So in this dream, there was this being who was like entering into this new community, and this community actually, it was like desert like community, and there was the leader. So it was like I was watching this and I saw this man kind of walk into the community, and it seemed like a man anyway, and then he walked in, and then all these people kind of rose up out of the sand or out of the land, and they started to fear this new person who was coming into their space, and they were saying like, no, we're scared to have him here, we don't want him here, like you have to leave, you're not welcome here. And the leader was like, no, that is not what is happening. And it was interesting because as they were expressing their fears and rejection for this person kind of grew into this monster, and he kind of started to look scary. And the leader was like, no, we're not going to do that. We are welcoming him into the community, and he is allowed to stay, and we are going to send him blessings, and he is now part of our community. And so everybody was just kind of like, oh, okay, I guess we're doing this. And so everybody kind of gathered around this gentleman, and the leader was saying, okay, now send him your blessings. Everybody send him your blessings. And at this point, he started to return back into like a normal looking man. And it was really interesting because there was also this aspect where I knew that this man, it was like he was pregnant, but he wasn't pregnant because he was a guy, but there was something that he was creating and something that he was going to bring forth into this community, into their like quote unquote world. And the leader was saying, your blessing shaped the river of his life. Your blessing shaped the river of his life. So it's important to send him really nice blessings and send him your positive energy. And what it kind of meant was like, yes, our life is a river and it's going to flow, and there's no stopping our life. This being is alive and he's living. And by sending these blessings, it shapes that river, it shapes that experience that not only he has, but the community has. Because it was like so water-based, it really reminded me, or like not reminded, but it was connected into the emotional well-being of the community, of the man. And not just that, but also with what he was going to bring and birth into the world. And so it just really was a unique way that spirit showed me this synchronistic relationship between each other and the energy that we put out, because it was when they were blessing him and when the leader was saying, your blessing shaped the river of his life, it was also the energy inside of him that was like growing when it came to like the being pregnant part, but like the birthing of the idea. So it's like the health and how that energy vibrates or like ripples and trickles down throughout what he creates and what he brings into the world. And so that's why it's so important to be positive and supportive and send each other blessings and welcome each other in and realize that we're all part of this global community, collective consciousness, and we're all in this together. And when we can share and exist from this place of love, like positive blessings for each other, it ripples down and transcends time and makes the future better. So it was kind of like this weird sort of time warp thing that I experienced too, because it was like not just now in the moment in the dream, but it was also like in the future of that community. It was so affected by that now moment. And it felt like how time, it was like time was like almost happening at the same time, with like the future happening in that moment and then the past. And so it was just showing how like our blessings and how being kind and being compassionate to each other is so important. It was just a really interesting way. And like I said, it's connected to the emotions, and water is vital to our survival. And so that also is like a takeaway, is how this is so vital. Like how we interact with each other and interacting from this compassionate, positive place is vital. And it is for not just our own health, but our community's health, each other's health, our children's health, the future of the planet, and like future generations, their well-being. So it's all so connected, and it's all so connected into this now moment. I hope that makes sense. If you like that message, give this video a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss future messages. I also wanted to let you know that if you're interested in having a personal reading done by me, I can go into the dream world and tap into your subconscious and uncover the blocks and barriers in your life around certain things that you want guidance on. Then feel free to reach out. hollyemerson.com is my website. The link is in the description below. And like I said, I'm going to share a second dream with you. Now, this dream was very interesting in the experience of it, because it was so much of a feeling and all these other senses of like the energy of the environment of the dream that was going on, which was the message. So I'm going to share the dream. And I share these dreams with you because sometimes there's going to be symbols and things about the dream that click with you in a certain way, and there's like an additional little insight or message that you have for your own personal life. So that's why I like to share these dreams with you. So in this dream, it kind of started out, I was with my husband and we were walking down this sidewalk, and there was this father and two daughters, and we knew this family, and they had this dog, and this dog was like really hyper and shaggy and dirty because he'd been like playing outside in the mud, and he was kind of like, he had his leash on, but he was like running off and no one was really holding him. And then we kind of like grabbed him to help the family, and he was just like getting all tangled, and it was just like a mess, and his leash was just a mess, and it was like made out of old fishnet, and it was a mess. And then the kids just kind of went away and went into their house, because they lived in this really nice townhouse that was just along the sidewalk. And we took the dog back to their house, and we went inside. And I remember I went to the bathroom to wash my hands, and then I was leaving and I was like, oh, where's my purse? And then I realized I gave it to my husband, and he had gone off somewhere else in the house. And I was like, where's my husband? And then there was just like commotion and lots of people around, and there was like a maid and just like a cleaner helping them, and just a chef. There was all this stuff happening. And then my husband came out, and he had all these gifts with him, and he had my purse, and he's like, oh, we forgot all these Christmas gifts, because we had stayed at this house like weeks prior in the dream, and we forgotten some things there. And so he like had them, and I was like thinking, oh, we can't take these now, like this is just, it seems kind of rude, and like we should leave them and we should go, like we're just bringing the dog back to the family, we weren't hanging out there. And then the wife of the husband who lived in the house was there, and she was getting mad at us, saying that we had hired this cleaner for them who turned out to be a horrible experience, a horrible cleaner or what have you. She was really upset about it. And I was trying to explain to her that we didn't hire the cleaner. It was another friend of ours who was there previous. But there was just this miscommunication and wires were crossed and she thought it was us and she was really mad because she had this horrible experience and I was trying to explain it and she wasn't listening. And the next thing I know, we were like outside. We had left this situation and we had opened up one of the gifts. And one of the gifts that we opened, it was in this like big bag, but it was a really small gift. And it was like this little kind of figurine, and it was like a little Buddha or Jesus statue. Cause I think we said Jesus in the dream, but then it looked more like a Buddha statue. And it was just like really weird looking. And I remember in the dream, I was saying like, oh, this totally is not something that we want. And we should just like not open it all the way and re-gift it to somebody else in the future. And then next thing I know, we were beside this playground area, but the playground also had like this water park pool, and there was a slide that went into this pool, and the water in the pool was really muddy, and there was like kids who would go and splash into the pool and like run out and just make a mess everywhere, and there was like kids running everywhere. And then we were turning around and going to leave, and then somehow my husband was like in the pool, and then all these kids, like he was like getting out or just sitting by there, and he had all this stuff with him, and then all these kids like threw him into the water, which it wasn't like a playful kind of thing, but it was more like a attack sort of thing. And then all these kids started to throw like dog toys at me, and like they were chasing me, and I remember thinking like, oh my gosh, what is happening? I was trying to pick up the toys and like throw them onto the roof so they couldn't get the toys and continue throwing them at me. And then I woke up. So this was a very crazy dream, and I remember just like the experience of it all was just like a mess. And I'm a really positive person and joyful person in my day-to-day life, and I really want to spread messages of love and hope, as I'm sure you might know by the past videos that I've shared. But this was different, and it's important to share. And the messages were really around like there's this energy that's going to be kind of coming up for you perhaps, where there's miscommunication and being easily misunderstood and things not being interpreted correctly, whether it's like your actions or people are assuming things that are not true, but they believe it to be true. Just like general miscommunications, it's like a time where this is going to just be easier. There was a lot of disconnect in the dream. Like people were very disconnected from themselves and from each other. And even the dog in the beginning, he was very like unruly and like going all over the place, and he was very ungrounded, and like the kids were ungrounded, the people in the house were ungrounded. It was very ungrounded. And so this dream was just really a call to be aware that that energy might be flying around you, or you might be experiencing it in your life. Because when you are aware of this, you can make a different choice in the moment. Instead of being swept away by these miscommunications and misunderstandings and ungrounded energy and like this chaos and disconnection, you can choose to do the opposite of that and choose something that is more loving, more kind, more connected, more grounded. So you can take this time and ask like, how can I connect more lovingly with others and more truthfully with others? And how can I clearly connect so I'm heard correctly and I'm also hearing correctly? So maybe it's on the other side of the stick for you and you have misinterpreted somebody, but you don't realize that you have. You know, allowing that space to hear the other person, to understand what it is that they are trying to express to you, or maybe asking different questions. If you might be triggered for some reason, just stop for a moment and think like, wait a second, maybe there's a chance that I didn't understand that correctly, or I'm interpreting this situation or experience incorrectly, and the intention from these other people or person is not how I'm receiving it. And so allowing the space for the flow of clear communication will be very, very helpful at this time. The piece with the gifts, this was interesting because it was all about taking things for granted from a sense of like this inability to give and inability to receive. Because in the dream, when I looked at the gift, I was like, oh, we should regift it. And then I remember in my dream, I was thinking, oh, they probably regifted this to us. And so it was just like this representation, this symbolism of their inability to receive the gift, and then also our inability to receive it, and then just wanting to give it to somebody else. Now, I'm not saying like regifting is bad, and it was just the symbolism around it and how Spirit used that to show me that it's a time to be more dropped in and feel into how we can be more open to receive, and how we can also allow that flow to flow through us to give kindly and compassionately to other people. Now, the water in the playground, how it was muddy. This was really showing how the children, I don't know if you have kids or if you work with kids, this might pertain to you, but it's just the kids aren't able to connect with their emotions right now. And so finding ways to help children connect with their emotions is so key. So whether this is a child in your life, children that you work with, or maybe it's your own inner child, and connecting to that emotion of your inner child and allowing that to flow, because it wasn't flowing. This water was like dirty and stagnant, and the kids were just like unruly, and like it was like that ADD kind of energy that they were experiencing. And really, like kids, that is not healthy for anybody, and especially our youth and children, and especially like our inner child. So it's a call to also heal that inner child and connect in with those emotions within. And yeah, your children, like finding ways to connect with them and to see them and to hear them and tune in to how they're feeling, and allow them to express how they're feeling, because they might not even know what they're feeling. They're just like all up in their head, just running around, just like wired on sugar or something, and they're just like going crazy, and just like stopping and that grounding. It's all about that grounding and helping them drop into their heart. And one way to help them do that is for you to do that within yourself. So dropping into your emotions and grounding your own energy will help shift the energy of the environment. And also, as you give yourself permission to feel your emotions, it will give your children or the children that you're around to start slowing down and be grounded themselves and tap into their emotions. Because when we don't process our emotions, and when they just kind of live inside of us and don't flow through us, it is really unhealthy, and the energy becomes distorted. And when we move through the world with this unprocessed energy, undigested energy, it's just more distorted energy, more jarring, that more ungrounded energy going out. So it's really important to find that within yourself, connect within yourself. Maybe you're feeling called, maybe it's the inner child thing that's really coming up for you right now. Connect in with your inner child and see how he or she or they are feeling, and that will help soften the energy around you and for those around you. So at the end of the dream, when the kids were like attacking my husband and then throwing dog toys at me, there was actually this tone of like racism that was coming through in the dream. And what this is about is just, it's a time for building bridges. And it's a time for, yes, like I just talked so much about the dropping into the feeling into who you are and what your emotions are, as well as allowing that space for other people to connect in and feel what their emotions are. And then also just building bridges and finding the equality among us, because we are all equal. We're all brothers and sisters. We're all the collective together. We are all coexisting on this planet together, and we are all here to love and support and uplift each other. And so I really encourage you to be aware of the energy that could be flying around right now, this ungrounded, unruly energy, chaotic energy, and you don't have to succumb to that. So this is just like a kind of like a wake up to be like, okay, this is what might be swirling around you, and you can make a different choice. And you can respond in a different way, react in a different way, and react from that place of dropped in love, kindness, and compassion and joy, and connecting with people from that space and building bridges with people from that space and finding how we're the same, how we can connect with each other versus reflecting or judging people based on differences. Like, find the common ground. So there was a lot in this new moon, these new moon messages. If you like these dream oracle messages, please give this video a thumbs up. Leave a comment if you have any questions, or if you want to share with me. I'd love to hear what message resonated the most with you. And like I said, even if there was other little symbolisms that came up for you that were deeper messages for yourself, then that's perfect. That's exactly why I share these messages the way I do. And if you are interested in learning to connect with spirit in the dream world like I do, or understanding your own dreams and dream interpretation, then I encourage you to download my free dream recall guide. I'll put the link below. I also have a tip sheet on how to remember your dreams. I will also put that link below. And if you are curious to start connecting with your guides in the dream world, then you can watch this video. I will put the link in the description below. But it's all about how to connect with your guides. I share 7 tips on how to do that. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next week.